October was a very interesting month for my gaming time. On one hand, I got to play a lot of games, including some things I got to play before their releases, and some things that I downloaded as soon as they came out, which meant I was able to play a lot of different things that I was hyped for. On the other hand, playing so many experiences meant I couldn't complete anything, which reminded me why I'm usually stricter with myself in terms of how many things I play at once. So although I enjoyed the month, it does get me keen to get back to more dedicated playthroughs while still sprinkling in new things I want to try, but ultimately putting more time into the bigger games to make sure I finish them. The most important thing is that I had fun though, so on that note, here are the JRPGs I played in October. Despite the fact I wasn't able to get my review up as quickly as others, Trails of Cold Steel 4 was a nice constant for me in the month of October, and while I had certain videos I was obligated to get out at certain times, it was actually nice to play Trails at a slower pace, taking my time to get place to place whenever I had a spare minute, and getting reacquainted with its many characters and world. I felt payoff from this as I played this month, with big moments hitting even harder, as not only is Cold Steel 4 still great at that slow building character development that the series is known for, but playing it in many shorter sessions rather than long ones amplifies this, and is probably close to how most players play the series while balancing other things like real life anyway. It's been great to see how well Trails can fit into my gaming life whether I'm blasting through it or not, and is encouraging for when I eventually dive into the other entries like I want to. So in spite of being late, I do still intend to review Trails of Cold Steel 4 as I have many thoughts on the game and will happily continue playing in its deep world all throughout November. I'm midway through Act 2 as I make this video and hope to play the next few parts at a more focused pace to make sure I finish. So I'm looking forward to talking more about this story-driven world soon, and would love to hear where you guys are up to in it, spoiler-free of course, in the comments below. Another game I'm probably behind in compared to other people is Genshin Impact, and in fact, I only logged in during October to see if any rewards had been given to try and get Chi-Chi, which I didn't succeed in, but I did get Ningguang, who is pretty cool, and because of that, I ran around with her a bit to enjoy the world. Other than the fact I want to play most of my Genshin journey on Switch, I'm also finding I'm a little overwhelmed by everything in the game and how far I am behind everyone else, something I haven't experienced in a while with games that I guess is happening because this one is so popular. I watched the 1.1 update trailer and saw a lot of cool things in it, but also realized for me to unlock those things I have so much work to do, and with games I plan to pay for coming up, I find myself putting Genshin aside for now, especially with the fact I think my main playthrough will ultimately end up being on Switch anyway. This is probably one of those so many games so little time situations, and since I'm having fun with Trails right now and like the progression, it's easy for this free-to-play experience that requires me to do a little more to progress fall by the wayside, but I do hope to get to know it better when its Switch version comes out and hopefully get hooked on it like a lot of people seem to be. I'd love to know if you guys are still playing or have fallen off a little like I have, as it's a unique experience and does still have a lot of hype surrounding it, so that will be interesting to see in the comments. And while I'll probably be putting any video ideas I had in mind for Genshin aside for a bit, I still watch all of its trailers in full whenever I do, so I definitely still have interest in the game and hope to get into it properly soon. This video will likely be out not long after I put out my Melody of Memory demo impression, so I don't want to repeat myself too much here, but I did want to put the game here as it's something I played in October and was a game I thought about a lot ever since playing, as I had to put off my impressions video for it a few times. I'd say my experience with the demo was pretty mixed, as I enjoyed my time revisiting the soundtrack and will take most excuses to listen to good music, which Kingdom Hearts definitely has, but I also think since I play other rhythm game experiences almost daily, I really have a preference for how I like to play this kind of game, and with Melody of Memory's many buttons and areas to look at on screen and on the controller, it just wasn't it for me, although I saw a lot of people who liked it on Twitter and in the comments, which is good because I would love to see Square do more rhythm games, just not necessarily like this one. It's one I might pick up on sale one day to have in my library, but since I have so many songs to play with for free and that I already own in other games, with its high price I don't feel the need to rush out and buy it right away. I am however curious to see how it goes when it comes out, and still hope that regardless of how I feel about it, that Kingdom Hearts fans enjoy the tribute to this series that has so many songs and games to look back on. I didn't expect to be playing any smartphone games in October, but I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to make a sponsored video promoting Sinoalis's Active Reality, which I'll link above if anyone is interested. Just to be clear, this JRPGs I Played video is not sponsored and I didn't have to mention it here, but I put a lot of work into that video, so if you're a Sinoalis or Yoko Taro fan, I'd really appreciate if you gave it a look and maybe you'll find the experience interesting. As I said in that video, I really enjoyed my time re-getting to know Sinoalis through both the reality portion and the rest of the game, because I had to grind a bit to be able to play that third act, and I also kept playing for a bit after the sponsorship to see more of the story. Admittedly, I've fallen out a bit more as we've gotten into November and as I get back into my console games, but from this I've remembered why I used to enjoy smartphone games like this so much, as there's always so much content to dive into even if you don't have a thing to spend, which is why I got super addicted to Final Fantasy Record Keeper when I first moved to Japan and needed something free to play. I will check out the story of Sinoalis more in future whenever I next feel the urge, as there's still plenty to get through, but getting back into smartphone games also reminded me why I like to be playing one game at a time, as it keeps me focused on its story, so I probably won't get to it until I've finished Trills at the very least, but it was interesting to get back to for a little bit, as it's always been a game I've been interested in. Another game I had a look at on smartphones completely unrelated to any sponsorships was the new Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent one that is finally out in Japan, and I was very curious about, as it seems so reminiscent of the original Switch game. It plays surprisingly well as a smartphone game. The break system is featured in an easy to use way in the UI, and since characters stem from all the areas of the game, I'm looking forward to seeing the extra context they give to Octopath Traveler, especially since it's supposed to be a prequel that expands on the world. In saying that, I've only played for about 15 minutes so far, so I can't really comment on it too much, but I am hoping to check it out more for a video and see if it's as good as the original Switch game, and if it's something I'd like to cross my fingers that makes its way over to the West. That will be something I put time aside for specifically this month, so I look forward to doing that and experiencing the magic of Octopath Traveler again in this new and interesting form. While my October ended up being a little all over the place, for November my plan is pretty solid. Aside from probably checking out the Octopath game for a day at some point, my main plan is to finish Trails of Cold Steel 4, and if I can do that by the end of the month, I absolutely have to try Yakuza Like a Dragon. I love the demo, so with the full game coming out with an interesting new protagonist, this is something that is a must try for me, and I'm really hoping that I'll be able to do it. I'm gonna be doing my best to pretty much make sure I do, and I'm pretty confident I'll get there, as this exciting game is motivation enough to play through everything I need to. So I'm really looking forward to coming back to Kamurocho and remembering why this series makes me fall in love with it every time, with its Yakuza humor and intriguing story. Naturally, like many of you probably, I'm also looking forward to seeing the conclusion of Trails of Cold Steel 4, so continuing that will be a big priority of mine this month, and it's already made me cry a few times in November, which means I'm getting emotionally invested in the world, and I'm looking forward to doing that more and seeing more of its social events. So until the next video, I hope you all enjoy what you're playing or continuing in November too, and I'm looking forward to hearing about all those games in the comments, and hope you have another great month of playing JRPGs. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below what you played in October and what you plan to play in November. You can like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content like this, and ring that bell to get notifications on whenever I post so you don't miss a thing. You can check out more videos here, and you can find me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at JRPG Jungle. Links to those will be in the description below, and until next time, thank you, bye!